What's going on? It's your boy Masta be here live from the MMB Radio studios for the MMB Radio Podcast, where no topic is too big or too small. We talk about them all. And on the phone lines, I want to welcome in a woman who is a published Playboy model. She is a 3-time UCA All-Star. She's a cosmetologist. She does health, fitness. She's a social media influencer. I mean, the woman's got more titles than I can list in one day. And quite frankly, nobody wants to hear me list them all, so we're going to let her do all the talking. I want to welcome in Miss Holly Joanne White. What's going on?
Hey, going good. How are you doing?
Great. And it's like, I mean, like I said, so many titles, and I'm super stoked to be talking to you and getting to know a lot more in depth of all these things that you do. But the first question I got to ask is, how do you find the time to do all this stuff?
Oh, my gosh. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor. It truly is. I don't know. I'm just the kind of person that I have big goals for myself, and I always am trying to improve myself, evolve as a person, evolve in my career. I just like to be doing things, and I like to be helping people. I like to be active out in the world, in the universe, whatever you want to call it. So I'm always trying to be a better human for myself and just out in society. And I just have big goals for myself. So I'm always trying to do things and achieve things for myself. So, yeah, I don't know where I find the time. Honestly, I feel like I'm always doing something all the time, but I actually prefer to be busy. I get up early most days. I'm always crushing my to-do list and schedule. I feel like I'm constantly adding things to my to-do list and my schedule, but that's good because I like to be doing things, achieving things, and getting everything done. So it is exhausting, I will say that, but I'd rather be, doing what I'm doing than, just, being bored. Like I don't know, I can't be bored. Like I feel like if I get bored, easily. So I feel like I like to hang out with family, friends. I like to be doing activities. So I don't know where I find the time for it. I'm always exhausted, but I'm always, I'd rather be busy and doing things and be exhausted because then that means that, I'm doing things for myself and I'm making myself happy at the end of the day. So it's all good things.
Well, I can tell you this much. If I were you, I would think my phone would be blowing up with like reminders of all the stuff that I have to do. It would be constantly going off. But said there's so much
notifications. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, and I was like, wow. It's like, how does she have time to do all this stuff? And it's cool though that like you mentioned that you don't want to be bored or anything, and I don't see how anything could be boring with you. But
it's really not. There's always some excitement happening with me. There's always something new going on in the land of Holly Joe. So
and you mentioned about the land of Holly Joe, and you are from the Midwest. So for all of us city slickers listeners that are, on the East Coast and West Coast and we're all hustle and bustle, what was it like growing up in the Midwest?
Oh my gosh. So I grew up in a very small town. So I'm at my core, I'm a very small town girl. I have small town girl values. I had a close, tight-knit family. I grew up, we were a Christian family growing up. We went to church. We, did school. I was in, physical activities in school, which was cheerleading and all of that. So it was a very Midwestern, very small town kind of a vibe. But when I think back on my childhood, I had a really great childhood. And I wouldn't change anything about it because the values and everything that my family instilled in me growing up, I have today. So I'm the kind of person where it's I care about humans at their core, and I'm never trying to I don't go after money or fame or anything like that. I think that that's all nice and everything, but at the end of the day, what actually matters is who you are as a person, what are you doing to help other humans? What are you doing to contribute to society? And I actually got all of those values instilled in me from early childhood. So growing up in the Midwest, it's great. You have 4 seasons. As much as I love traveling, don't get me wrong. I love being in the sun and in warm weather and things like that. But there's something really nice about, having snow on Christmas. So up here in the north, like we get blasted with snow. Like we had a couple of years ago, I don't know, like we had multiple, like those polar vortexes. I think maybe you have heard of those. I don't know.
Yep.
But I mean, it was crazy. Like you'd walk outside and if you were outside for 4 minutes, you would get like frostbite. It was crazy. But yeah, I love the Midwest. I love the season changes. To me, the Midwest it's home. So I don't know. There's just something about the Midwest that's just, I don't know. It's just inviting. All the people are, you ever heard that Midwest nice? Yeah, people are great here. There's, people are nice. They're not, rude or anything. They'll help you if you need anything. So yeah, growing up in the Midwest is great. I can't say anything negative about, I grew up in Wisconsin, so we're the dairy state. We have a lot of good food here, and beer, and cheese.
Well, I can definitely hear the accent, and it was something that I noted when we were talking off air. I noted the Midwestern accent, which is funny because I'm sure you probably hear that all the time. You probably don't even hear your own accent. People tell me that I have a Jersey, Philly accent, and I'm like, I don't even hear it. I don't know what you're talking about. But
yes, exactly. I hear that all the time. People say like, "Oh, you're not from around here. You have an accent," or "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, to me, it's just I just sound like Holly. So it's just really funny that people are like, "Oh, you're from the Midwest," or "Oh, you have an accent," and I'm like, I don't think I have an accent, but that's cool. I mean, I think other people are like, you have an accent.
Exactly, as I said, you probably think I have one.
Yes.
But that was one of the cool things that, like, when I approached you about wanting to be on the podcast, is you gave that vibe that you mentioned about being this, Midwestern, but very down to earth, not, all out front and center, bougie like. You're just a really chill person online. And having those
Yeah.
core values growing up, what was it that you wanted to do and be when you were younger? I mean, you have so many job titles now, but what was your dream goal of being in a career?
Oh gosh. Well, I had a lot of goals. So, I mean, when I was in, I don't know, junior high, I wanted to be like some badass girl lawyer, like very Elle Woods style. And I wanted to be a dermatologist. I really liked skincare and stuff like that. But as I got older and I was more in like the cheerleading world and I had started modeling by then, I really gravitated towards like the fashion and beauty and modeling industry. Because I have kind of like a knack for aesthetics and design. And like I started the modeling. Before I even went to beauty school, I was doing all my friends' hair for like homecoming and prom and stuff like that. So I was just very into fashion and beauty. And I remember I made Victoria's Secret. I was obsessed with like all of the Victoria's Secret models. They don't do the runway show anymore, but I was obsessed with that. And then I started watching The Girls Next Door, which we all remember. It was at the Playboy Mansion. So I was very into that. So it was kind of this culmination of like this bombshell fashion beauty world. Like I wanted to be immersed in that world, in modeling, in beauty, in, whatever it was. But by the time that I actually, because I was full blown in the cheerleading world at this point too. So it was just a lot of things at once. But I remember thinking when I think I was 18 and I was still still living with my parents and I had just graduated. And I remember thinking, I'm just like, I really wanted to do either Playboy, Sports Illustrated, or Maxim. Like those were my top three. I always wanted to be a Victoria's Secret angel, but let's be real, like I don't even think I'm tall enough for that. So, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. I'll just be Holly Joe, the Victoria's Secret angel for myself. That's fine. We'll just add that in there.
That works for me.
But anyway, right, exactly. I'll just pretend and it'll be fine. So I wanted to do one of the three. So. And at that time, it took me about a year and a half before I actually made steps to complete that goal. But that's when I initially had that thought. And it's like, you know what? I really want to be in, either in Hollywood or in the fashion industry in New York. I really was like drawn to that. It was like, oh, it'd be so awesome to, be in the fashion industry in New York and do all those kind of things and be in the modeling world. And I was like super drawn to that. So, so after high school, during this time, obviously I was still in the whole like cheerleading spectrum of things and all that. And I attended beauty school, because I was already being hired by people to do hair and, makeup and stuff. So I was like, well, I might as well just get, my practitioner's license. So I enrolled in beauty school and did that. And then, towards the end of beauty school, I don't even know what came across my mind or whatever, but I think that goal of being like in Playboy, Sports Illustrated or Maxim, like, it was still there. It never went away. So, I remember I was on my laptop, and it was after like a day at the salon or whatever. And I was researching into these like internet threads and like the depth of the internet. I don't even know where I found this thread, but it was basically I think I tried to find the thread like today. I don't even know. I couldn't find it. So I don't know where I came across this thread. It was like the depths of the internet.
Like the dark web.
The depths of the dark web, yes. But it was basically a thread. It was a bunch of people, like other girls and stuff who were like in Playboy, and they were talking about like how they got in Playboy or whatever. And I remember this one girl, she had, there was an address, like she had listed the address to the editor of Playboy. And she was like, this is what I did, here's the editor, I was in, yada, yada issue or whatever. And then I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, okay. So then I obviously wrote it down. And what I did was I took pictures of myself. So like when you do any sort of like modeling, you have to send in your photos or whatever. So like full body shot, face shot, your head shot, whatever. So I took pictures. I actually then wrote Playboy a letter. So I wrote a letter to the editor of Playboy and just saying like, hey, this has been, a dream of mine to be in Playboy, whatever else I had put in there. And I literally mailed this letter. And it's just funny because the way society is now, like everything is so digital. So it's just funny that, this wasn't even that long ago, but it's so funny how social media in the world has literally just blown up so much that it's like mailing a letter to a company, just like, yes, that is normal, but like, it's not as normal as it used to be. Like everyone's like, oh, just send your digitals in,
Mm-hmm.
But like, I legitimately went to the post office and mailed Playboy a letter.
Now we just DM stuff to people. It's like
right,
crazy.
Exactly. Oh, let me just let me email it to you or whatever. But no, I literally I had my postage stamp, I had everything like a cute little letter just all laid out, mailed it into Playboy. They called me a week later. They're like, oh my gosh, we love you, we want you. And then they just like from there, I thought it was a fake phone call. Just like, this isn't real. I'm like, wait, what? She's like, oh, it's Stacy from Playboy Enterprises. We loved your letter. I'm just like, wait, what? It's like, but it was just so funny. But I'm so thankful that, I'm grateful that they, wanted me. That was wonderful. Like I am forever grateful. The Playboy family, they're wonderful people. Love Playboy. It was great. And then the ball went rolling from there and everything just happened like so quickly. So sorry, I went on a tangent.
No, it's very interesting. And I guess the follow-up I was going to have for that is you mentioned growing up in a small community, Christian values, and conservative. And like, how did Playboy come about? Like, obviously it was a dream of yours, but how did your family and I'm assuming everybody in the neighborhood knew what you were about to do, encounter?
Oh my gosh, yes. It's like a whole other topic, yes. So it's good that you brought this up. So yes, I am from a small town family, Christian values. So basically, to be honest, my family was not thrilled. But to back it up a little bit, so me as a person, like I've always been I'm kind of just like, not that I'm like out there, but I consider myself to be more of like a sexual person, and not in like a raunchy and like a bad sort of a way, but in a, I think that our society suppresses like women and their sexuality a lot. And like, let's say like a guy, he's, he has sex with, yada, yada, whoever. And then a girl does the same thing as like a guy, and then she's looked down upon.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's like this stigma in our society of like women like shouldn't be, that sexual or like whatever. But anyways, I'm getting off topic, sorry. But so I have always been more of a sexual person. I'm very in tune with my sexuality as a woman. And that was from a young age. I've always just gravitated towards expressing that kind of more freely and openly. And yes, growing up in a Christian family and having those Christian values, it is very much contradicting that lifestyle. And my family, they're like a conservative Christian family. So they were very against, me doing Playboy I can understand that. It was very hard because, I love my family. I didn't want them to think that I was just like forgetting everything. They're like, you weren't raised this way. You are a Christian lady. You shouldn't be doing those things. And it's like, I understand that. But then it's like, why can't I still hold on to those values and be a Christian woman, still love God, and then also be able to freely express my sexuality as well? To be honest, it's not like in Playboy, I'm not like, sorry, this is out there. I'm not sucking a dick on like video, you know what I mean? So it's like,
it's not like hardcore porn.
Right. So I understand exactly where they're coming from. I kind of felt a little bit bad, but honestly, I mean, I've always loved like art and design. So I was going to post nude for like one of the college art classes like here at our local university. So, and they pay you to do that and stuff like that. So because I think the body is a canvas. I think that, I think it's art. I think people should be free to express, that and their sexuality and stuff. That I was going to do that. So me as a person, I'm kind of just like basically shoot for the top. And that's just kind of what I do. Is why not just, if I'm going to do pose nude for a college art class, why don't I just, a Playboy is like the top,
Mm-hmm.
why don't I just go straight to the top? So I was like, well, I'll just do that. It's classy. I love, the Playboy vibe is very much like classy, artistic form of like expression of the body for like women, to freely express their sexuality and things like that in a very classy way. And that's what I love about Playboy, and that's why I wanted to do it. So, and I'm so glad that I did it. My family, like some of my family members think that it's my brother. He's probably the most supportive out of my whole family on the whole subject. My brother is great, love him. But so it was really, really hard. But I think that going through everything that I went through has made me a stronger person today. And I wouldn't change anything. I don't think I'm less of a person or a less of like, like I have no values because I did Playboy. I don't think that at all. I understand that some people might think that, and I completely respect other people's opinions on, what their thoughts are on me, posing for Playboy and coming from a Christian upbringing. But I think that, I can still have all of the values that I have and still freely express my sexuality as a woman in a very classy way. And that's exactly what Playboy is. And I think that more women should be able to feel like they can do the same thing. And that's what I want other women to know is like, you can still do things that you want, and you can also still have like maintain all of your values and morals and, respect for yourself and do something in a classy way.
Now, growing up in that, like I said, that small, close-knit community, but you said you were very open about your sexuality and expressing it. Were people shocked when they heard that you were going to be shooting for Playboy, or was this something that people just were like, oh, we kind of knew Hollywood eventually would be doing something like that?
I think people were actually shocked. Not because they didn't think that, like I would do something like that. I think it was just because I'm from Portage, so very small. No one from Portage has ever posed for Playboy. So, and, it's a very small town and, small town values, small town kind of way of thinking. They're not really, they kind of probably thought that I like went off the deep end or went off the rock or lost my marbles or something, but, but honestly, I don't know. I think they were more just, they didn't know that I was going to be shooting for Playboy. Everyone just kind of found out after the fact. Even like all the people I went to high school with, like there was kind of like a mixed bag of like some people were like, oh, that's awesome. Like, that's so cool. Like no one from Portage has ever like gone out and like done something like that. We're so proud of you for going out there and achieving like whatever goal you had. Like, that's so great. And then I had like other people who actually were on the cheer team with me too, that they were just like, I can't believe that you did that. You should be embarrassed about this. And, they were just like, they had a complete negative viewpoint on it. So I got like a mixed bag of everything, but honestly, I did it for myself. I didn't do it to, make other people not like me or, hate me, or I didn't do it to, I don't know, get any sort of fame out of the deal. I did it for me because that's something that I really wanted to do. And at the end of the day, you're going to have critics no matter what you do. So you have to make sure that you're doing what makes you happy as an individual every single day. And you can't worry too much about what other people think of you, because if you do that, you're just going to be like a hermit, crying in the corner of your room or something. So, so you have to make sure that you are doing what you want to do for you always. And don't think about what other people are going to think. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what people think, because people are going to either love you or they're going to not like you. So, and the people that are your support network, like, who those people are, and those people will support you no matter what. They will be in your life no matter what. So yeah, at the end of the day, you just have to do what you feel is right for your life.
I always say for every one person that loves you, there's going to be 10 people that are not going to. So you can't worry about those 10. You got to worry about the one and grow from that one.
Absolutely.
But doing Playboy, and a lot of people, see Playboy and then, it's like a gateway to other things. You mentioned about having done it in such an artistic and classy way. Were you ever approached to do anything more hardcore, and what was your thoughts on process of like that?
Yes. So I was approached. Well, I still get approached to this day, honestly, to do more like hardcore, like actual porn and things like that. For me personally, I don't want to be in like, some triple, quadruple X rated, crazy porn video. Like, I don't want to do that. So like, and I don't feel like I need to do that to be, Holly, so I definitely get approached all the time to do stuff like that. And I turn it down because I don't feel like I even want to do it. So it's like, why would I do it if I don't even want to do that? And it's not that I would do it just for like money or more publicity or things like that, but I just don't feel like that is very Holly of me to do that. Like, I'll pose, I'm pretty big in like the modeling situation and stuff like that. So like, I'm completely comfortable like modeling, nude modeling, clothing modeling. Like, obviously Playboy is, the genre of Playboy. It's, I guess you could say it's softcore porn, whatever. But to actually be in some crazy raunchy porn video, I just feel like for me, I'm more of the classy porn type of person, like more of like the glamorous classy porn versus raunchy video porn. Like, I don't want a video out there of me in a raunchy situation. And then like, let's say, I have like a child someday, potentially, who knows, I don't know. And then they see this video of like their mom and like some raunchy porn video. Like, I don't want that out there. So, so I definitely have, I'm definitely very open sexually, and I definitely would do certain things, but there are certain things that I just don't care to do like that. Like, I don't want to be in some crazy porno where someone's like, blowing their load on like my face everywhere, or like doing some crazy crap, or like I just feel like that's not me, and I feel like that would just make me look like cheap, and that's just really not my vibe. So there's definitely, I get it all the time. I definitely turned down a lot of opportunities because some people think, oh, well, you were in Playboy, so you're just gonna be this like triple X-rated like porn star. It's like, okay, well, technically, yeah, you can consider me like, a star in this genre of porn world, whatever. But, you don't have to do something just because somebody's asking you to do it. So it's definitely like, find your comfort level, figure out what you want to do. I've definitely done other things and shoots, since then, obviously. But like the really raunchy stuff, I don't care to do, so I decline. It definitely depends, what it is, what's all involved, like what company is it for, what are we doing, what's all involved, what are all the details, what does it all entail. So there's that. So I definitely still like to keep a classy image for myself at the end of the day. So I definitely turn down things I'm not interested in, for sure.
Well, I can say that part of our research here is we did have to look up the Playboy photos. And as much as we love the Playboy photos, I have to admit, I don't see them doing much justice. Like, I feel like your regular stuff on Instagram is so much better.
I agree.
I'm just like, wow. I'm like, we're like, not that we were disappointed. I mean, obviously looking at, Holly, naked is not a disappointing thing, but we were looking through and we're like, wow, like the stuff that you just post on a regular basis on Instagram is like a million times better. So do you feel that by doing that Playboy, it gave you that extra confidence to kind of take more challenges?
I guess you could say that. I do think that, well, there was kind of a little like pause after I did Playboy where I kind of like took a step back just because like I was dealing with like my family's reaction, like everyone's reaction to everything. So I kind of like let things like settle a little bit. So there's definitely a little bit of a time frame between when I started just doing other things. But I definitely think that doing Playboy, it kind of, okay, so when I did Playboy, like I was young, not that I'm not young now, but I was like really young. And I was more, not that I'm not innocent now, but I was a lot more innocent in the aspect of like, I didn't have that many years outside of high school where I could explore the world, figure out what I like, what I want as like an individual, figure out who Holly is. And so I was just kind of like thrust into the Playboy world. And I think that after all of that, I do think that doing Playboy, it was such an incredible experience. Like I stayed at the mansion for a little bit, hung out with, Half and everything, like, and other girls, and like having all of those experiences, it did help shape me to who I am today. And it did help me realize that like, it's okay to be who you want to be as an individual. It's okay to express yourself as an individual. So yes, I definitely think that it did help in that aspect. I became a lot more comfortable being in front of a camera, because let's be real, when you're naked in front of a bunch of people, like you have like the lighting guys, you have the actual photographer. I had Stephen Wada, so he's a renowned like celebrity photographer. He's done so much work in the Playboy world. He's an amazing photographer, so he was my photographer. He's a great guy. And like you have like the wardrobe stylist, you have like, the makeup girl. So you're literally just like naked in front of all these people. And, at first it was like I had never done any shoot that was like, full nude like that ever. So it was definitely an experience. And I feel like I did get more comfortable in front of a camera, because when you're nude in front of all these people and they like are loving it, you definitely gain another level of confidence where it's like you can literally just go out and do so many other things because you're already so comfortable in that environment. So I definitely think that it did help me grow and evolve in my comfort level, like in the modeling world, things like that. Even in Instagram. So like today, like, you know, like you see some of like my photos from like Hawaii. Gosh, that was an amazing photo shoot. I was on the beach for 4 hours. It was tiring though, like holding poses on the beach. People don't give models enough credit. Okay. It's a lot of work, you know, switching out outfits and bikinis, and, you know, you're posing on like hard, like sharp rocks, and like I had cuts in my legs because I was holding poses on like the beach, you know. So it's definitely, you know, modeling is definitely, you know, an art form. And I think that, you know, a lot of people just think, oh, you're a model, so you just have it so easy. It's like, no, actually modeling is, you know, it's an art form. You have to understand how, you know, different camera angles, or how to angle your body so it looks, you know, in a better, more flattering way, you know, lighting, camera angles, body angles. There's so much involved in it, and holding poses in certain, you know, it's like holding a plank for, you know, like 5-10 minutes. Like, that's exhausting. So imagine like doing that for like 4 hours on like a beach. That was Hawaii. So I had actually 2 shoots in Hawaii. But yeah, so if you look back on like some of the Instagram photos of like even Hawaii, it's like, yeah, like I'm pretty much almost naked, and I was completely comfortable. I was so in my element that I literally felt so beautiful and amazing. And you know, I was just like whipping my clothes up. I didn't even care like who saw me naked. It's just like, there was like this guy, because we were at like it was kind of like a secret place that not a lot of people know about in Hawaii. So we were on like the main island, like in Oahu, and there is this really great photo shoot area it's like a secret place that, you know, the photographer had and everything like that. And you know, it's a nicer area of town. So you have like these really ritzy homes, and like they're beautiful. And like I was back to the beach area. So there was this one home that was like right up to the beach area, and I was you know, just like whipping off like my bikini. I'm like, you know, walking around nude or whatever. And this guy who lived at this house, he didn't he didn't mind us being there. Like he didn't care that we were there, like taking photos and stuff. And I'm just like, oh, you know, hi, I'm like waving, and I'm just like naked, putting my other swimsuit on. But I don't think he minded at all. But
most guys wouldn't.
Right, exactly. So it's like people don't mind. They actually, you know, they think it's great because they see you doing something like that, and like you're very confident in your own skin, and you're out there killing it and loving life. And that inspires other people to be confident in their own skin and to go out there and achieve things that they want to do too. So you just take out all of that fear of what do people think of me, or does my body look like okay, or like, you know, take out all of that fear, and then you're left with like all of these good vibes of like, you know, you're happy, you're confident, you're just like, that kind of energy of like, if you're just out there like loving yourself, loving life, like that, people gravitate towards that, and people love that. So it's like, no matter, even if you're naked or not, who cares? So people gravitate towards people that have good energy and are positive and are loving life. So that's kind of like the vibe that I try to give off, or I try to like live by every day, because why not be happy if you can be happy at the end of the day? So
that now leads, like I said, to Instagram and being more of a like an ambassador and an influencer. And you post a lot of things with different fashion tips and different health tips. How do you find the time? I mean, again, back to the time issue. How do you find time to stay fit between doing all these, you know, shoots and traveling to different places? How do you find the time, and what is like the workout plan to stay fit?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So I do not, so many people ask me this. I do not have a regimented workout routine or a fitness schedule or anything of the sort. I am literally just, okay, first of all, I eat a ton of food. And I have a really high metabolism. I got it from my dad. He eats literally like grease and garbage, and he's like thin and fit, and he's like 65. He doesn't have any heart issues or anything like that. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, I have like great genes, right? So a lot of it, I feel like, is the fact that I have a really high metabolism, and I can afford to eat a ton of food because my body just literally just burns through the food. I don't even know what my body does with it. Like I'll go to, Jimmy John's and I'll order, I don't order like the little half 6-inch sandwich. I literally order the giant sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, we're not even talking the foot long. We're talking like the double foot long. Like, that's my lunch. So.
And you're from the Wisconsin area, so you got to have extra cheese.
Exactly. Love cheese. The only thing though is I'm not a huge beer drinker. I'm more of a wine girl. So I'm kind of doing a disservice to, the whole Wisconsin situation because everyone loves beer here. But that's fine. I'm a wine girl. That's cool. So yes, I don't drink a lot of beer. So, maybe that's why I'm more fit. I don't know. So yes, I do not have a regimented workout schedule. I decently eat whatever I want. I don't have a certain diet. I do not restrict myself in any food whatsoever. I eat what I want when I want it. It doesn't matter if it's 3 a.m. or, 11 p.m. Like, if I want a burger at like 3 a.m., sure, I'll eat a burger at 3 a.m. It doesn't matter. So I definitely don't restrict anything. The one thing that I do though is, generally speaking, generally across the board, I mostly eat healthy, but I definitely eat a bunch of garbage. Like, I throw the garbage food in there, and then I feel like because I mostly eat healthy that it kind of neutralizes itself out, sort of. It must, because I don't work out that much.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes. So when I do work out, I don't work out, like my sister, she's amazing. She works out so much. She's so fit and she's, whatever. But I don't spend like 5 hours in the gym like she does. I just don't. I think that if I'm going to do that, I spend 30 minutes to like an hour tops, and like then I'm checked out. So one thing that I do is when I want to work out, which, isn't all the time, I do this is kind of funny. I do the Jane Fonda original 1982 workout video. And I don't know if have you heard of this?
I have, and I kind of already knew this answer, and I was waiting for it. I was like, I'm waiting for the Jane Fonda tape.
Okay, so this video, so many people just like laugh when they hear me talk about this, but let me tell you about this video. Okay, first of all, Jane Fonda is freaking amazing.
I hope she's writing you a check.
Right. She isn't, but I mean, I would definitely be her friend. So anyways, she literally started the fitness revolution on VHS tapes. Like, literally the VHS tape, she literally launched VHS tapes with her fitness video. And this lady, she is amazing, let me tell you. So this, her workout video, so I do the advanced version. I don't do the beginner, but I suggest if you are starting this tape, actually now she came out with it on DVD, so get it on DVD because I don't make VHS anymore. Does anyone even have a VHS anymore?
I have a VCR in my house, and I take very good care of it because I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to find another VCR.
That's so funny. But yes, it's out on DVD now, so you can actually, use it in modern times.
It's probably even digital now, as you mentioned. We're so advanced now. It's probably even digital somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, even DVD is becoming like obsolete now, which is insane. Like CDs and DVDs, like who has those anymore? Everything is streamed. But yeah, so when I was little, my mom did the Jane Fonda workout tape, and she had the old. It wasn't even the VHS. It was like the Beta. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Now I'm aging myself. It was like the Beta machine.
Yes, it was before the VHS. Like, this is so old school, right? So my mom would do the video when I was little, and I was probably like, I don't know, 8 or 9 or something. I was small, and my sister and we would do the video because my mom did the video, and so I literally grew up doing this video like weekly, and I would always do the advanced version. When I was younger, I started out with the beginning, but then you get so good at the beginning, you just do the advanced. The advanced is like 45 minutes. But I'm literally, okay, if you do the advanced version of this video or this workout tape, like, you will be fit no matter what you're doing. Like, I don't even care. Like, if you don't even like change your diet and you're just doing this video, you will literally see your body change. And I'm not even kidding. Like, I can't even speak enough good things about this video because I sound crazy. It's literally an 80s aerobic, like Pilates type, like fitness thing. But like, Jane Fonda, first of all, is killing it. And like, if you even, like, I can't even do it as well as Jane Fonda can because she's just amazing. But I definitely can get close. And, you know, some people, they'll see the video and they'll be like, this is literally insane. And it's like, no, but just do it. Like, trust me, just do this video multiple times a week and you will be like ripped. You will have like ripped abs. Your legs are going to be all like firm and toned. Your booty is going to look good. Like, I can't even speak enough volumes about it. So I don't go running. I actually don't like running. Every single time I run in like a treadmill, I get bored. I lose like attention so fast with like running. It's funny because not a few years ago, maybe like 4 years ago now, I did 2 half marathons with my sister. And I only did that because I wanted to prove to myself that I could set a goal for myself and achieve it, because I literally hated running so much that I'm like, okay, I'm going to do 2 half marathons, 2 weeks apart from each other. And you know what? I did both the half marathons. I achieved both of them literally 2 weeks apart. It was insane. I did one here in Madison and then I flew to Disney. So I did Run Disney in California, and that was so fun. But yes, at the end of it, I was like dying, and I'm like, okay. Like I'm not like running isn't my forte, but yes.
Yeah, like bleep this.
Yeah, the
not
Jane
doing this
Fonda
again.
video is awesome.
And I think she actually just re-recorded doing the video. I think I seen like a blurb on like one of the entertainment shows. I think she actually re-recorded it, and like she's in the full like 80s like workout garb with like, you know, the leg warmers and all that. So
Oh my gosh, I need to look into this. I did
yeah,
not
you
know
have to Google that. And
she
it did.
re-recorded her original.
Yes.
I need to check this out.
And I mean, I don't know if it's like the full workout, but it's definitely like a parody of it, you know? And they did like the cool special effects on the video to make it look like the grainy 80s VHS effect on it. So definitely.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
I need to look into
You definitely got to
But
Google
like,
that.
yes, I will definitely Google that. I need to check it out. I need to see this. If she's literally how old is she now? Is she in her 80s now? I don't even know. She's literally, if she's doing that video still, like, that speaks for itself right there. Like, this girl is still fit, and she's like, you know.
Yeah. And she's still killing it. Like, let me see, how old is Jane Fonda? She's 82 years old. 82. And she's still out there sweating it.
Amazing.
So we have a couple questions from fans. So we grabbed a couple of them, and one of the fans wanted to know, he hit us up on Instagram, he wanted to know, what is dating life like for you when you are so busy doing all the social media stuff, the shoots, the traveling? Do you get to have much of a social life?
I do and I don't. So, okay, so I'm always doing something, and dating, you know, first of all, just the dating world, even just detached from like my own personal experience with dating, let's be real, the dating world has kind of gone like down the toilet, so to a certain extent, because of social media. And I don't want to say anything like that bad about it, but I think we can all relate that the dating world is different than it was like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Especially now
and
with COVID.
What's that?
I said, especially now with COVID, you can't even go any place.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that just threw a whole other wrench in the situation. So my dating life, or social life just in general. So I've actually found it a little bit difficult in the whole dating spectrum, because not even talking about during like coronavirus or COVID or whatever, like this is just even before that. Let's say that I meet up with someone and, you know, I'm trying to get to know them just as like a human. And I've gotten so much of the, like, they don't like the Instagram world. Like, they get annoyed, like, if I'm, like, posting a story or I'm, like, editing a photo to add or a caption. There's a certain time commitment that's involved in social media when you're, you know, an influencer, or even if you're just like a regular person, like posting something. Like, it takes a little bit of time to formulate. Like, you have to edit the photo, you have to edit figure out what caption you want to do, you have to make sure you're tagging everybody, you know, adding it to the story. Like, there's a certain time commitment that's involved. And I try to post every single day. So, yeah, even trying to just come up with content to post every day is exhausting in itself. And I still try to put something out there just to, like, keep my fans, like, engaged, and, like, they have something to, engage with me on and things like that. So I try to still put stuff out there. And I've found it difficult because some people, they don't understand. It's like they know who, like, I am, and I think that they're more so just like they want to, like, go on a date with me because of, like, oh, it's Holly, they know who I am or whatever. They see, like, me and my photos and, like, all of that stuff, and like, oh, they're excited and everything like that. But then when it comes down to actually being with me, they don't like the fact that there's a time commitment of me creating content, me taking time to, like, post something. And, it can take you 30 minutes or something to even put one post out there if you're going to be doing everything. So I found it kind of difficult in that aspect where they don't, like, they like the idea of being with me, but then when it actually comes reality and comes time to actually being, like, with me, or, not saying it's like they have to deal with that, because nobody has to deal with that, but it's a part of me and my life and who I am. So it's something that I'm doing for myself. So it's kind of something that's like, if someone wants to date me or be with me, then they need to understand that comes along with that. Like, I have to, do photo shoots, and there's a time commitment that comes with, even being on here with you. I'm like, this is, a time commitment, and that's like it's a certain thing that's, a part of my life. And if anyone's going to be with me, then they have to accept all of that. And, it's like, I'm not going to change who I am for anybody. So, like, the right person for me is going to accept everything that I'm doing in my life and accept, every part of me as a whole. And another thing that's been difficult is, like, even just the Playboy thing. So I've come across situations where, like, I go on a date with a guy or whatever, and then they'll say, like, they disapprove of the fact that, like, I have, like, the Playboy stuff out there. And then, like, I'm thinking, it's like, well, it's on Google. Like, I'm out there. Like, the Playboy thing isn't going away. So, and then they would get kind of, like, annoyed. And they're like, well, if I'm going to date you, like, I don't want you to have, your Playboy stuff, like, on your profile or on your, like, your Instagram or whatever. And then I'm kind of thinking, I'm just like, well, that's a part of me. Like, that's something that I did. And it's like, I'm not gonna take that off of, who I am. Like, that's something that I did. So that's a part of Holly. And I'm not going to just, basically, even if I take it off my bio, it's still out there in the universe as, oh, here's Holly Joe in Playboy. Like, I can't, it's on Google, it's on, it's in Playboy, it's published. I can't remove that from my life. That is there to stay. So it's just been difficult sometimes with dating, because it's like the guy doesn't want to fully accept the fact that I, this is what I do, or, this is what I've done. So it's just kind of like, I remind myself at the end of the day, okay, well, these guys aren't the right person for me, because the guy who is right for me is going to be like a cheerleader and is going to support me and is going to understand, like, there's a time commitment to the things that I do for my career, for myself. And they're going to be understanding and supportive and not annoyed or trying to change me as a human. So it has been difficult, I will say that. The social aspect, I definitely try to get out with family and friends as much as I can. But there have been times where I can't go out and be social with, like, even my cousin or whatever, just because, like, I have commitments, like, the next morning. I don't want to be out super late because, I need to get some sleep. So if I have a full book of stuff going on the next day, I don't want to go out too late the night before. And things like that. Like, for example, even last night, my cousin Jason, he's like one of my favorite cousins ever. I love him. So he was actually going out last night with a couple of friends, and he wanted me to meet up. And I mean, I see him all the time. He's great. So it's not like I never see him, but I declined going out with him and his friends last night just because I have a lot of stuff going on today. Like I have speaking with you, and then I have like a photo shoot, and I have all this other stuff happening. So I'm like, I need to get sleep, so there's definitely, I have to turn down some social gatherings and events and stuff like that just because of other stuff I have going on. And that's just me trying to balance everything. So I try to just get everything done as much as I can. And I definitely try not to decline too much on like social or family events with friends and stuff, because at the end of the day, I don't want to look back on my life and realize that I didn't do anything with family and friends because I was so career oriented and I was just blowing everyone else off because I had all this other career stuff happening. So I definitely still try to make everything kind of fit. But the reason I didn't go with my cousin last night is because, I'll probably see him in a week, so it's not, he doesn't even live that far from me. So, it's not like it's a one chance to see him. So, it is definitely a pull and a struggle with balancing life in general, like career, time-wise, making sure I can get everything done. It is a huge commitment, a huge undertaking. It is exhausting, but I would not change any of it ever. I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing. What really makes it people, and when people come to me and they'll send me a message or whatever, and they're saying like, oh, well, you really inspire me, or, like just any sort of a nice message that lets me know that, like I'm impacting their life in a positive way, then that makes everything that I'm doing completely worth it. And I love that feeling of knowing that I'm helping people in a positive way, or I'm putting a smile on their face, or like anything of the sort, or I can help them, get through a life event that's, or like a tragedy of any sort. It definitely makes me so happy to know that I can impact people in a positive way. And that's why I continue doing what I'm doing, because that drives me. And I love helping people. So yeah, it's definitely worth it. So there's definitely a struggle, but it's worth it.
Well, I have to thank your cousin for taking one for the team and allowing you to have the time to speak with us today. But it would be remorseful
Absolutely.
of me to not mention about your sports fandom. So I know you're a big Packers fan, and I know you're a huge fan of, anything that's, Milwaukee area sports. But kind of just talk about that a little bit. Like, what is some of your favorite sports moments, athletes, for people that are just totally in tune? Because I look through to Instagram and I see like some of these debates of like people going back and forth with you about sports. Like, do you enjoy that talking of sports with fans, or is it kind of become overwhelming? Does it feel like it's an extra chore?
Oh, not at all. So I love sports. Obviously being an athlete and a cheerleader myself, I've actually, that is completely, well, it's not completely unrelated, but it's a side note. So the Olympics actually just approved cheerleading, as like an Olympic sport. So we might be seeing cheerleading in the Olympics coming up. So that's exciting, completely sort of unrelated, but anyway, so yeah, sports is huge for me. I love the competitive aspect of sports. I've always had sports in my life. Probably my favorites are, obviously I'm from Wisconsin, so I support, so I'm always rooting for the Packers. I'm always rooting for the Brewers. Always rooting for the Badgers and the Bucks. So all of those are always my number one just because I'm from Wisconsin. But yeah, so growing up, my brother, he's my older brother, so he was always in the sports world. He was huge in the baseball world. He played football, he played basketball, but he mainly did like football and baseball. So like baseball was probably the largest. I can remember every single week I was always going to his games because as a family we go together. And so I was always at a football game. I was always at a baseball game, basketball games, and then of course, as I got older, I was in cheerleading. So I cheered for football, I cheered for wrestling, and I cheered for basketball. And of course that was before UCA. UCA is a completely different deal. That's more of like professional, international level cheerleading. But basically, so baseball was huge. And so my brother was very big in baseball. He did it through college and things like that. So I basically grew up on the field because I was always at a field with sports. And then of course you throw cheerleading in there. So then everything was just very sports, athletic oriented. So basically that was a huge part of my life growing up, still is today. I actually still go to a lot of games with my brother. We love going to baseball games together, whether it's Brewer games, anything. We go to Bucks games, Packer games, things like that. So I definitely love talking about sports. I think that a lot of like my fans also enjoy me talking about sports. I don't mind the sports banter on some of my posts and things like that. Some of them got pretty heated. Like, what was the one? I forgot the original comments, but there was this whole big feed on, I basically told them, just take it up with the commissioner of baseball or whatever. I forgot the original comment.
I do remember that one. Someone questioned whether or not the World Series is played in the United States. So do you think that something along the lines like, shouldn't it be played outside the United States? Like, totally took it out of context of the word world and made it into something else.
Yes, and it's like, well, this is what it's called, so take it up with the, Rob the commissioner. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And there was this whole big thread of like everyone like fighting back and forth. Thought it was very entertaining. But yeah, I definitely, I'm huge in the sports world. I care about what's happening. I can't say that I know everything there is to know in the sports world, but I have a decent grasp on what's going on all the time. So, it's all good things. It's fun. I love it. I love sports. I love sporting events. I'm a huge fan. So.
Well, I have to say, it's been an awesome time talking with you, and I can't wait to have you back on the podcast because I feel like there's just not enough time in one day to fully like dig in and find everything there
so
is
much
about
to talk
you.
About. I have so much stuff to say about everything.
Like, I could sit here and like listen to you just talk all day about everything that is Holly, but I want to make sure that you let everybody know where they can find you at on the web, social media, all that stuff, because I know there's a lot of, catfish and phony profiles out there. So where can everybody find you?
Yes, there are so many.
If you're going to argue
profiles.
Sports with her, at least argue with the real person.
Right, exactly. Oh my gosh, I've been getting so many messages recently about people telling me all these fake accounts that are me are trying to contact them. I'm just like, no, but like this, like there's only one account. So my Instagram is my main account. You can find it's Holly Joanne W. So it's HOLLYJOANNEW. That is my Instagram handle. It's also my Twitter handle. I have a website. It's hollyjoanne.com. What else do I got going on? I don't know. There's a Facebook page. I think it's also under Holly Joanne W. So my main page is Instagram, Holly Joanne W. Look me up, shoot me a DM, let me know what you all think about everything. I love getting comments from people on stuff. I feel bad because I get so many messages and stuff, and I can't get back to everybody because the volume is so high. But I do go through them, and I do read a lot of them. Even if I don't respond, you are heard. I do see them. But it's just the volume's so high, I can't respond to everybody. Otherwise, like, I wouldn't be able to have time to do anything else. So, so follow me there, reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you all. So, yeah, it's all good.
Well, I appreciate you, like I said, taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to us. And I appreciate you, getting back to us, because I really was like, I'm taking a shot in the dark here. I was a fan, a follower, and I said to you off air, I said, I'm such a fanboy, and I'm publicly putting it out there on the podcast, and I'm a fanboy for Holly Joe. And
I love that.
and
Yes.
I was really shocked that you were so cordial and so nice about wanting to come on the show. So we definitely got to welcome you back on again, and we will continue to follow you on Instagram, your social medias, and see all the posts. And one thing I have to say before we leave, if anybody wants to set up like a GoFundMe account, because I did see that you did get into a little ticket situation over the last couple of days.
Oh gosh, yeah, I got a $300 speeding ticket. On a side note, Wisconsin, I feel like charges the highest rates for speeding tickets. Like I got one in Kentucky, and it was like $160, and in Wisconsin it's like $300, which obviously I can pay for that, but it's just like, why does Wisconsin have to have such high rates? I don't know what it is.
Well, I definitely saw that. I was like, that's dedication there. She is, not that we condone speeding, but she's hustling to get to the next event, the next commitment, to do all this great stuff for you guys, the fans. So make sure you follow her.
It was funny yes, of course. Well, it was funny because so I was driving along. I was with my friend Kelly. We were going to an event, and I was like, we were just rocking out to our music and having a great time. And like I was on the interstate, which is 70 miles an hour, whatever. And so of course I was going a little bit faster, because who goes 70 on the interstate? And then we were getting into Milwaukee area, and I didn't even realize. I mean, obviously, maybe I'm just oblivious. I don't know. I didn't realize that the speed limit changed to like 55, and that's when I got pulled over. So, and I was still going interstate speed. So there you go. That's what happened.
Well, there we go. Now you have
made
the
it out
full
okay,
story. Well, Holly, we appreciate it again, and we continue to wish you much success, and cannot wait to see more of the Instagram posts and more of the amazing tips and fashion, especially going to the holiday season. We welcome you on anytime. Again, you let us know. You're more than welcome to come back.
Oh, absolutely. We'll definitely coordinate. We'll definitely do this again. I very much enjoyed speaking with you. I am also so glad that you are one of my followers. I definitely am grateful for the support. You guys are awesome. I would love to be back on. I enjoyed, sharing my thoughts about things, opinions, whatever it is. I love when people ask questions about stuff. I love answering questions for people, and, anything. If people want life advice, they have questions for me, whatever it is, I'm very open about stuff. I'll talk about it all day. If people want to listen to it, it's great. So, yes.
Well, we appreciate it again, and hope to hear from you soon. Oh,
yes. Thank you so much for having me on. Hey, guys. This is Holly Joanne White, Playboy model, cosmetologist, and 3-time USA All-Star cheerleader. You're listening to Mixmaster B on MMB